Hi everyone, Frankie from powerwall.com. Today I want to talk about battery maintenance, specifically preventive battery maintenance. In this video I'm gonna talk what, why, when, and of course I will provide a roadmap on how to do it yourself. I can't wait to start. Before we start the video, I want to mention that I made this video based on a DIY system with a JK-BMS system. Of course, this works for any brand, you just have to adapt the settings for your BMS. After a certain number of cycles, we can see a deviation in voltage between cells. Because of this, you can no longer use the full potential of the battery, and it can have an impact on the lifetime of the cells. Preventive maintenance tackles this issue before it gets out of hand. And yes, the BMS has built-in balancer, but I explain later why this not always can keep up with your system. The maintenance can be done every year or every 2 years. It depends on the quality of your cells, how well do they match, and the usage of the battery. I perform the maintenance during winter. PV solar performance is low, and to save maximum energy, I switch off the inverter to save idle load. The winter sun slowly charges the battery to 100%. Once it's nearly there, I can change the maximum allowed cell voltage to 3.5 volts. Till 3.45 volt, all cells are well balanced and deviation is less than 20 millivolts. If I go above, voltage difference starts to rise. It's here where maintenance starts to kick in. When cell over voltage protection kicks in, it's time to remove the pack from the system by turning the switch. The balancer will start shifting the energy from the battery with the highest voltage to the battery with the lowest voltage. I switched off all 3 switches, so batteries can no longer charge, but balancing is still available. The upper left is still on, deviation is limited to 0.027 volts, and I need the voltage and current to feed the servo. So this one I can balance later if I want. After a while, the cell over voltage protection alarm will be cleared. Then I flip the switch again and charge the battery again till I get the over voltage protection status again. I repeat this step several times. If needed, you can do this over multiple days. It depends on how bad the unbalance of the cells is. Using a grid-connected power supply can accelerate this process. I only charged with solar. We're now 24 hours later. Balancer had all night to balance the difference out. I'm connecting to a few BMS and you can see that the unbalance is gone, even at higher voltage. Time to connect battery packs again and switch on the inverter. Just flip the switch and start the inverter again. To keep the battery happy and to extend its life, it's better not to keep the battery state of charge at 100%. Time to connect the load. After dumping 30 kWh of energy in the car, the state of charge of the battery took a dive to 50%. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. Let's check the voltage differences of the BMSs in the system. Voltage difference is between 0.003 and 0.006 volts. I'm always surprised other YouTubers accept voltage differences larger than 20 millivolts or 0.02 volts when battery is in flat area of the discharge curve. You shouldn't. If it's more, just use the easy Powerwall maintenance procedure. After watching part 1 of the video, you still might have a few questions. Some that came to my mind are, can this procedure be used as an initial charge procedure of your battery? The answer is yes, this is the way anyone should charge his battery. I've seen pictures where people put all their cells in parallel, charge them up to 3.65 volts, and they put stress on the cell and on the studs. It's better to invest a little money in a simple 4-digit multimeter. Check your cells. If you buy A-grade cells, all should have more or less the same voltage, and then just build your battery, put your cells in series, like this case 4S or 16S, depend on your voltage of the battery of your system, and let the balancer do its work. Charge up to 3.5 volts, the balancer will balance all your cells, and then in the second phase charge up to 3.45 volts. Another question: can this maintenance procedure be done in summer? Well, question is yes and no. You can do it, but it's more challenging. In the summer you have a lot of energy and your charger will go from bulk to absorption and then towards float mode. And the float level might be just below your balancing voltage. So it might be more challenging and more time consuming than the winter procedure. And if you have to remove the battery pack from your system in the summer, you might lose a lot of energy as well. So you have to trade off, but for me it's definitely better to do it in winter when there's not much energy. Another question about the BMS settings. In the past I only charged my cells to 3.4 volts, and that's a bit too conservative. I made only 66 cycles last year, so this year I will change the settings and I will increase the cell voltage to 3.45 volts. There is not too much capacity left between 3.45 and 3.65, but this will allow me to stay a bit longer in constant current mode and charge at a higher pace a bit longer. Of course I will update a new cheat sheet, and all settings will be available here in a PDF document under the video. Free of charge, you don't have to register, you can just download all settings here under the video. Another question about the balance current of BMS. You've probably noticed that I'm balancing at 1 amp. There is also a 2 amp model available. I choose the 1 amp model only for one specific reason. The price for a BMS when I bought these BMSs was over 150 euros for the 2 amp model. The country where I live charges a lot of import tariffs for items above 150 euro. If money is no issue and there are no import tariffs, then just go for the 2 amp model. If you have import tariffs, then you can work with the 1 amp model. It might take a little longer, but it works as good as the 2 amp model. What about commercial systems? Is there a similar maintenance procedure available? Well, I haven't seen too many commercial systems, or didn't have a chance to test them, but I never saw this procedure. So that's just a call to you. Just go for a DIY system. It's cheaper, it's easier to maintain, and in case of issue you can easily replace a cell or all cells. It will be much cheaper in the long run. If you have more questions after this video, please use the comments under the video. I'll be happy to help you out. This was Frankie for easypowerwall.com. See you soon for more videos.